we were burgled the night before last in North London.
Last night, in the middle of the night, a gang of 3 men pulled up to one of our London stores. They took everything they could.
Over the weekend, our warehouse was broken into. Never do you ever think it's gonna happen to you until it does.
In today's video, I wanted to discuss the alarming rise of luxury theft in London. You guys know I do a lot of shopping here, and in all honesty, I have never felt unsafe shopping in London. However, more recently, there have been a few headlines around luxury theft, especially in areas like Oxford Street and Regent Street that are renowned for having luxury stores. And it's got me thinking a bit more about how safe it actually is to own luxury in London. So in today's video, we'll explore the underlying causes of the rise in theft, what is being done to address the issue, and how both businesses and customers are responding to these high-profile crimes. So first, let's start by understanding the scale of the growing problem. Over the last few years, London has seen an alarming increase in luxury thefts, particularly in the exclusive areas of Knightsbridge, Mayfair and Covent Garden. Figures from the Metropolitan Police suggest a marked increase in crimes targeting luxury goods. In 2023 alone, thefts of high-end items such as designer clothing, watches and handbags rose by 15% compared to the previous year. This represents a concerning uptick, and it's not just the goods themselves that are being targeted. Luxury stores and boutiques are also experiencing increased illegal activity. In fact, high-end stores in the heart of London have become the focus of increasingly sophisticated and daring thefts involving everything from coordinated robberies to smash and grab raids, leaving retailers scrambling for new ways to protect their merchandise and their reputation. The increase in the level of sophistication of these thefts was highlighted by the recent theft of a new Hermes Birkin bag that was stolen from the changing room of influencer Janice Giustema. I'm not actually familiar with Janice, but I did watch some of Sophie Sohet's video about Janice's bag being stolen, so I was able to look a bit more into that. And it seems that somebody was following her around the store, and when she went into the changing room, they stole the bag. And I have heard a few stories about customers saying that they have been followed around the store in Selfridges. And one of the first times I heard about it was when another influencer called Kenza Boutrif shared that she was walking around Selfridges and she bought a pair of Chanel shoes, and somebody was following her and just picked the bag up, and she spoke to the security and they said that it was really commonplace. I have heard about it a few times that these thieves are actually following customers around for prolonged periods of time and then stealing from them, maybe, more casually. So not necessarily confronting them, but when they're not paying attention to their bags, kind of just slipping away with them. So I thought it would be interesting to have a bit of a deeper look into who these thieves actually are. According to law enforcement and retail security experts, the answer is multifaceted. Firstly, there's been a rise in organised criminal gangs operating in the city. These groups are often involved in a variety of illicit activities, but luxury theft has become a key focus due to the high resale value of the stolen goods. A designer handbag, for instance, can fetch up to 5 times its retail value on the black market. Then there's the emergence of flash thefts, which involves individuals often acting alone, grabbing high-value items and running out of stores. These thieves rely on the element of surprise and often target smaller boutiques that are less likely to have robust security measures in place. I do actually have experience of this flash theft technique. I was in H&M and my phone was in the cup holder of my pram, and basically somebody walked past me, grabbed the phone and just ran. All I saw was the back of his head and the soles of his feet, and by the time I got downstairs to security, he was pretty much probably somewhere very far away. But it seems that social media has also played a role in this growing trend. There has been an increase in the number of individuals using platforms like Instagram to show off their newly acquired luxury goods, which sometimes leads to thefts based on the public display of wealth. People have warned that some criminals actively target influencers or even customers walking out of high-end stores knowing they are carrying items of significant value. I do know that in some high-end stores, depending on where you shop, they will offer to give you a more discreet bag to walk out of stores with because of things like this. The increase in luxury theft is not just a matter of perception, it is backed up by data. According to recent reports by the UK Home Office, the number of shoplifting incidents involving high value items has risen by over 25% in just 2 years, and these numbers are expected to continue climbing, especially as we head into 2025. In 2023, approximately 40% of all shoplifting incidents in high-end retail districts involved items worth £1,000 or more, compared to just 20% 5 years ago. In addition, the average value of stolen items in luxury thefts has increased by nearly 30% since 2019, indicating that criminals are targeting higher-end products with greater precision. The growing trend has prompted some luxury retailers to reevaluate their approach to security. So what's being done to combat the rise in luxury theft? Both retailers and law enforcement have had to adapt quickly to these evolving crimes. Firstly, let's talk about the retail response. Many luxury brands are investing heavily in high-tech security systems. CCTV surveillance has become more advanced, with facial recognition software now being implemented in some flagship stores. In addition, some brands have started using more sophisticated anti-theft tags embedded in their merchandise, which can't easily be removed. On the physical front, many stores are now adopting a vault approach. For example, high-end watches are often kept in secure, locked display cabinets, and handbags are sometimes only shown to customers after a careful evaluation. Some stores even employ silent alarms, which alert security personnel without the thief realizing. But it's not just about prevention. Retailers are also trying to tackle the problem through community engagement. Partnerships with local police forces have strengthened, and some retailers are now employing security staff trained specifically to spot potential thieves before they strike. I think an issue that stores have, though, is that, especially with things like flash thefts, unless you're able to identify the person stealing, then it is really difficult to even have an idea of what to tell the police if you decide to contact them. Because when my phone was stolen, I couldn't even describe the person. I was able to describe what he had on, but I didn't see his face. And I think he was working with a woman. So the woman distracted me. She asked me a question, and as I was answering her question, he took my phone. Also, security in London do tend to be pretty hands-off. They are usually unarmed, and physical contact doesn't always take place. It's quite unlikely that you're going to find a security guard jumping on a thief. And also, depending on the price of what has been stolen, the Metropolitan Police do tend to have other priorities. London is a very busy city. There can be loads of crime in particular areas, which is pretty commonplace for large, really popular cities. So whenever I've at least tried to report a more petty crime, I don't usually hear back. However, in response to the increase in robberies, the Metropolitan Police have ramped up patrols in areas prone to these crimes. They've also launched several high-profile campaigns aimed at raising awareness around the growing issue. Authorities are now working more closely with retailers to identify repeat offenders and organise sting operations. However, experts argue that the issue is complex and requires a deeper look at the socio-economic factors behind the rise in luxury theft. Law enforcement officials have pointed out that while the increase in crimes are partly due to organised gangs, it is also linked to rising poverty levels. So how are customers responding? As luxury theft has become more pervasive, some customers have expressed concerns about their safety, particularly when shopping in areas like Bond Street and Regent Street where luxury boutiques are located. I actually do quite a lot of my shopping online, and it has never really been about feeling unsafe and more about being quite an introvert and not really loving people. And it might be partly why I have never felt any more unsafe shopping in luxury stores than I do shopping in London generally. Kind of always have my wits about me. You know, I'm not really openly carrying my money or, I don't know, flashing it or doing anything like that. But for me, it's not necessarily about because I'm in London. It's more about that's just how I am anywhere that's quite populated. Interestingly, there has also been a shift in how customers are viewing the security measures of stores. Many shoppers now expect high-end retailers to implement visible security systems such as security guards, advanced alarm systems, and even facial recognition. Customers are increasingly choosing stores that they feel are taking extra steps to protect both their merchandise and their patrons. However, some shoppers are beginning to see these security measures as an inconvenience, particularly with increased surveillance in physical physical stores, there's a delicate line between protecting customers and making them feel like they're under constant surveillance. I personally can't say that I'm not familiar with feeling watched in a store, but I can see how this can be unsettling for customers, especially when you're, maybe you're going out, you want to buy yourself something nice, have a nice experience, and then feeling like you're constantly being watched can really just kill the whole vibe. So what does the future hold for luxury theft in London? While it's clear that efforts are being made to curb crime, experts believe that the problem is far from over. As long as the demand for high-end products remains strong, criminals will continue to target these items. And it may just be because I'm a Londoner myself. I genuinely do not feel that the issue around luxury theft is a unique problem for London. I know that cities like New York have a similar problem around luxury thefts. And I think that the really wide wealth gap in society really doesn't help things, along with the increased cost of living and the general distribution of wealth not really being fair amongst us all. I don't think that really helps, along with places where there are loads of people usually have higher levels of crime. But in trying to find a solution, there is a growing push for more collaboration between luxury retailers, law enforcement, and even the public. There are also calls for tougher penalties for luxury theft, as some argue that current laws don't adequately deter criminals. As I've explained in my experience, I don't think that there is much attention that is paid to these kind of crimes. I'm sure that the reason for this is complex and is probably a mix of funding issues, priorities, recruitment issues within the Metropolitan Police, organisational issues. But I definitely think that some more attention should be given to the consequences for these thieves. I also think it would be helpful to have a really good look at the resale market and how luxury goods that are stolen are tracked. I think that the use of intelligence, drone surveillance, and even blockchain to authenticate high-value items could offer new solutions in the fight against theft. I think it is important that retailers focus on creating a safe space for customers to shop, but also part of the luxury shopping experience is about how it feels. And so although safe, the environment still needs to be an enjoyable experience for customers. It is clear that this growing issue is impacting everyone from retailers to customers. And I think that whilst we are all facing the increasing challenges around the cost of living, but mixed with some of the pressures that some people feel around social media and wanting to live a certain life or feeling like, they're never going to be able to live that life. And so how can they get there a bit more quickly? And organised crime, which is quite big in London, I think that we will continue to see an increase in luxury thefts. I definitely think it is more of a societal issue than one that exists in isolation.